I've got Campbell Hausfeld 6-gallon pancake compressor, 135 max PSI and 2.6 CFM at 90 PSI and 3.4 CFM at 40 PSI. Been a good little compressor for 5 years, but a belt went on it, so we had to open it up. There are 4 Phillips screws that go in these holes. They're just short metal screws like this little guy here, and then there was 2 of these bolts for to hold the handle on it, and they were 5mm Allen key to get those off. So you need a Phillips and a 5mm Allen key to get to that point. The belt was located right here, on here from the motor. Here's the little drive gear on the motor, and here's the gear on the for the piston, the push rod and the piston for the compressor. There was a this push rod is held on here. It's actually supposed to be a little further on than that. I started taking it apart. There was a nut on top here. I believe this nut is a 7mm. Let me see what I have here. I have a 7mm. Yes, it's a 7mm nut that was on there. And then there was, to get to that, you needed to remove this gadget. This is the fan, the cooling fan, and it sits the drive fits on the end of the shaft here, and there's a reverse thread bolt. This reverse thread bolt has a 4mm, needs a 4mm Allen key to remove it. To remove that, and then you remove this nut with a 7mm Allen key, and then you take a 3mm Allen key and you go underneath here and you loosen this bolt off. I had to kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit until it would move, and then what it does is this part here gets sandwiched together and puts pressure on this bearing so it won't slide off. So it's like an aluminum shaft here. So you pull that out of the way, and you have your new belt here. You need to stretch that on there, I guess. It's supposed to be a stretchy belt, and I don't see any direction on it. I don't see any direction for that it would be turning on it, so non-directional maybe, hopefully. And I'm just gonna put it on, and hopefully this works out good. Not having much luck putting the belt on, so I brought up my stretching tool. I actually made this tool to stretch the elastic on socks. If you had socks that are too tight, you could stretch them out on this, and it works really well if you have poor circulation. So I'm gonna just put my belt in here and give it a stretch, because I can't get it to stretch for me in the compressor. So I'll stretch it on here. I'll just roll it around and give it some stretching around. And hopefully this belt will stretch out enough that we can slip it on there. I'll try that out, see if that loosened it up at all. Alright, let's try this. Hopefully we can get it this time. Okay, so it seems like I've got the belt on there now. Hopefully that's going to be good. So now it's time to reassemble. So we'll just put this, we'll put the push rod back on to the end of the shaft there. Okay, we got a little block of wood here, so we'll just tap it on with that. Tip my camera over. Let's see if we can get it from here. There we go. So now we got that fully seated on there. We should be able to do this back up. We'll get back underneath this bolt with the 3mm and tighten it back up. And that's going to squish this together and grab that bearing so it doesn't, the push rod doesn't slide off that bearing. And this is a little bit tricky spot. Try to get underneath here with this 3mm Allen key, and I don't have much swing in here. It is working, but you don't get a lot of swing on this. I'm not sure what the torque setting is on this, but I'm just going to torque it back to about what I think it was at. I don't want to break the bolt off or strip anything out. So now we're going to put that nut back on the top of this with a 7mm. Again, not overly tight. I think that's just to keep that bolt that sandwiches this aluminum together from backing out. That should be good. Now we gotta put this fan back on, back the way it was, and the reverse thread bolt with, it's got washers, a lock washer and whatnot on there. I don't know what all that is on there for spacing. Maybe I'm thinking it might be too long and they just added a bunch of junk on there to space it out. and a 4mm Allen key. Puts that back on. I don't know what happened exactly before, but the belt burnt right off. But I think it's because it's 5 years old. It just dried out and had a spot that probably lost a little bit of rubber, broke off, crumbled, and then it started spinning there. The belt was probably stretched out really badly and too old. So it just stopped working. Now we got, make sure the wires are back onto the switch. And for this, I think I'm just gonna plug this into some power. Right, let's plug this in and we'll try this out, see if it works. All right, it's got up to his 135 psi like it's rated for, and it seems pretty good. So I think I'll put the cover back on and we'll call it good. Just unplug it first, put the cover on it. Well, this is the super boring part anyways of just putting the cover back on, but we've got the belt replaced and it works. And this was, I guess I should probably just look at the model number on this thing somewhere. Don't see the nameplate on it for that. I'll have to look it up somewhere. Oh, here we go. It is a model number DC0600009DI.